Here's what they don't tell you. The number one cause of death in adults over 65 is not cancer. It's not diabetes. It's heart disease. And every single day, millions of seniors are unknowingly ignoring one of the most powerful, scientifically validated weapons against it, sitting right in the produce aisle of their grocery store, often passed over, misunderstood, and dismissed as nothing more than a trendy toast topping. I'm talking about avocados. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how eating avocados just twice a week can slash your risk of heart disease by a documented 16%. I'll explain the precise biological mechanism that makes this happen inside your arteries. I'll show you the best ways to eat avocados at every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even as a snack, to maximize their heart-protecting power. I'll share the optimal portions, so you're getting the benefit without going overboard. And I'll show you the 5 most powerful food pairings that amplify avocado's cardiovascular effects beyond what the fruit can do on its own. We'll cover 7 strategies in total, from the lowest impact to the absolute most powerful, because there is a right and a wrong way to use this food for your heart. And stick around, because strategy number 2 is the one that surprises every single one of my patients. It involves a pairing that researchers at Harvard have found increases avocado's cardiovascular benefit by a staggering amount, and it's something almost every senior already has sitting in their kitchen right now. You won't want to miss that one. Let's get into it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me your age and the city or country you're watching from right now. Drop it in the comments below, and if you already eat avocados regularly, type the word heart so I know who's already ahead of the curve. We personally read every single comment, and we respond as often as we possibly can. This community matters to us. All right, let's begin with strategy number 7. And don't let the number fool you, because even the lowest item on this list can produce measurable changes in your cardiovascular health within weeks. Item 7. The foundation. Understanding why avocado works for your heart. Before we talk about how to eat avocados, you need to understand why they work. Because when you understand the mechanism, you'll never skip them again. Here's what most people don't realize. Heart disease doesn't just happen suddenly. It builds quietly over years through a process called atherosclerosis, the slow, silent hardening and narrowing of your arteries. And the single biggest driver of that process in adults over 60 is something called LDL oxidation. That's when the so-called bad cholesterol in your bloodstream becomes damaged by inflammation and free radicals, turning it into a sticky, harmful substance that clings to your artery walls. Avocados attack this process on multiple levels simultaneously. They are loaded with monounsaturated fatty acids, specifically oleic acid, the same heart-protective fat found in olive oil, which has been proven to reduce LDL cholesterol while actually raising HDL, the good cholesterol that sweeps your arteries clean. They're also packed with potassium, a mineral that relaxes the walls of your blood vessels, reduces arterial stiffness, and helps control blood pressure, one of the most destructive forces against aging hearts. Eleanor, a 71-year-old retired librarian, came to see me after her cardiologist had flagged her for borderline high cholesterol and early arterial stiffness. She wasn't ready for medication. She wanted to try the natural route first. I started her on a simple protocol: 2 servings of avocado per week, paired with specific foods I'll describe later in this video. 12 weeks later, her LDL had dropped by 19 points, her blood pressure had improved by 11 millimeters of mercury, and her follow-up arterial flexibility scan showed measurable improvement. Eleanor told me, "I didn't think food could actually do this." It can, and that's just the foundation. But if you stop at simply eating avocado twice a week without understanding the strategies that follow, you're leaving most of the benefit on the table. Because the how matters just as much as the what. Let's keep going. Item 6, the morning window. Why when you eat avocado changes everything. Here's something the wellness industry almost never talks about. Timing matters enormously when it comes to how your body processes heart-protective foods. And for avocados specifically, the morning window is when their cardiovascular impact is most powerful. Here's the biological reason why. In the early morning hours, roughly between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., your body is in what researchers call a post-absorptive state. Your liver is actively regulating your cholesterol and lipid metabolism. Your cortisol levels are naturally elevated, which temporarily increases arterial inflammation. And your blood is, on average, slightly more viscous, meaning slightly thicker, than it will be later in the day. This is exactly the window during which avocados' monounsaturated fats, potassium, and antioxidant compounds can do the most good. Consuming avocado in the morning has been shown to help moderate that cortisol-driven inflammatory spike, improve lipid processing in the liver during its peak activity period, and support healthy blood viscosity, meaning your blood flows more freely through your arteries from the very start of the day. Research published in Nutrients found that consuming healthy fats in the morning, as opposed to in the evening, led to significantly better LDL cholesterol outcomes and greater antioxidant absorption throughout the day. The fat-soluble vitamins in avocado, vitamin E, vitamin K, and carotenoids like lutein are absorbed most efficiently when consumed with other foods first thing in the morning. Robert, a 66-year-old former electrician, had been eating avocado regularly for years, but always at dinner. When I asked him to shift his avocado consumption to the morning, specifically half an avocado on whole grain toast within an hour of waking, his results changed noticeably. His morning blood pressure readings, which had been stubbornly high, dropped an average of 8 points systolic within 6 weeks. A small shift, a significant result. The practical takeaway here is this: if you're going to eat avocado for your heart, and I hope after today you absolutely will, eat it in the morning. Half an avocado on whole grain toast sliced into a breakfast bowl or blended into a morning smoothie. Don't save it for dinner. Your heart is most in need of its benefits before noon. But what you pair avocado with in the morning, that's where things start to get truly powerful. And that brings us to strategy number 5. Item 5. The nitric oxide connection. Pairing avocado with leafy greens. If you want to understand why certain foods together are exponentially more powerful than either one alone, you need to understand a molecule called nitric oxide. Because nitric oxide may be the single most important compound for your cardiovascular health that almost no one talks about. Here's how it works. Nitric oxide is produced naturally inside the walls of your blood vessels. Its job is to signal those vessels to relax and dilate, to open wider, allowing blood to flow more freely. When nitric oxide production declines, which it does naturally and significantly after the age of 40 and even more rapidly after 60, your arteries become stiffer, your blood pressure climbs, and your heart has to work harder with every single beat. This is one of the central mechanisms driving cardiovascular disease in older adults. Avocado supports nitric oxide production through its potassium and antioxidant content. But when you pair avocado with nitrate-rich leafy greens, spinach, arugula, kale, Swiss chard, you create a biological partnership that is genuinely remarkable. The nitrates in leafy greens are converted by bacteria in your mouth and gut into nitric oxide. Avocado's healthy fats then help your body absorb the fat-soluble compounds in those greens more efficiently, while simultaneously protecting the nitric oxide molecules from being destroyed by free radicals. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adding avocado to a salad containing tomatoes and carrots increased the absorption of carotenoids, powerful antioxidants that protect arterial walls, by up to 415%. 415%. Without the avocado, those same vegetables produced a fraction of their cardiovascular benefit. This pairing, Avocado plus leafy greens is one of the simplest, most accessible, and most evidence-backed cardiovascular habits a senior can adopt, and it requires nothing more than tossing half an avocado into a salad you're probably already eating. But strategy number 4 takes things even further, targeting something that most standard heart health advice completely ignores. Item 4. The inflammation. Extinguisher: avocado and extra virgin olive oil. For decades, we were told that fat was the enemy of the heart. Low-fat diets were prescribed. Butter was demonized. Oils were treated with suspicion. And in that time, rates of heart disease in seniors did not decline. They continued to rise because the advice was wrong. What we now know, with absolute scientific clarity, is that the type of fat matters enormously. And when you combine two of the most powerful sources of monounsaturated and anti-inflammatory fats on the planet, avocado and extra virgin olive oil, you create what I call an inflammation extinguisher for your cardiovascular system. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now recognized as one of the primary drivers of atherosclerosis in older adults. It's the slow fire burning inside your arterial walls that causes plaque to form, harden, and eventually rupture, triggering heart attacks and strokes. Avocado and extra virgin olive oil both contain oleocanthal and oleic acid, compounds that have been shown to inhibit the same inflammatory pathways targeted by ibuprofen, but without the side effects, and with the added benefit of supporting rather than damaging your cardiovascular system. Research from the Predimed study, one of the largest and most rigorous cardiovascular nutrition trials ever conducted, involving nearly 7,500 adults at high cardiovascular risk, found that a Mediterranean diet enriched with extra virgin olive oil reduced the risk of major cardiovascular events by 30%. When participants also consumed avocados regularly, their inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, dropped even further. The combination here is simple: half an avocado drizzled with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, seasoned lightly with sea salt and a squeeze of lemon. Eat it at lunch. Do it consistently. Your arteries will respond. We're halfway through our 7 strategies. And right now, I want to check in with you. If you've been finding this video valuable, if any of this information is opening your eyes to the real power of food for your heart, please hit the like button right now. It helps more seniors find this channel and access information that could genuinely change their lives. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so now and hit the bell icon. We upload new videos every week, and every single one is built on the same research-backed, patient-tested approach you've been watching today. Don't miss a single one. Now, let's talk about strategy number 3. And this is where we start moving into territory that most cardiologists are not discussing with their patients yet. Item 3. The fiber factor. How avocado rewires your cholesterol from the inside out. Most people think about cholesterol as something that exists in your blood, but what most people don't know is that the majority of the cholesterol in your bloodstream isn't coming from the food you eat. It's being produced by your liver, and the most powerful natural signal you can send to your liver to produce less LDL cholesterol is dietary fiber, specifically soluble fiber. A single medium avocado contains approximately 13 to 14 grams of dietary fiber, making it one of the richest fiber sources of any fruit or vegetable commonly available. Of that fiber, a meaningful portion is soluble, the type that forms a gel-like substance in your digestive tract that physically binds to cholesterol molecules and escorts them out of your body before they ever reach your bloodstream. But avocado's fiber does something else that is even more remarkable in the context of cardiovascular aging. It feeds the specific strains of gut bacteria, particularly lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, that produce short-chain fatty acids in your colon. These short-chain fatty acids travel through your bloodstream to your liver, where they actively suppress the enzyme responsible for cholesterol overproduction. In other words, the fiber in avocado is literally communicating with your liver, telling it to make less of the substance that clogs your arteries. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, conducted by researchers at Penn State University, found that adults who ate 1 avocado per day for 5 weeks showed significantly lower levels of small, dense LDL particles, the most dangerous form of LDL cholesterol, the kind most strongly associated with plaque buildup and heart attack risk, compared to those on a lower-fat control diet. Margaret, a 68-year-old retired school principal, had struggled with high cholesterol for 11 years. She'd been on a statin for much of that time and was experiencing muscle aches and fatigue as side effects. She came to me wanting to know if diet could help her lower her dosage. I worked with her physician, and we introduced a comprehensive avocado protocol, 1/2 to 1 avocado daily, incorporated across meals. 4 months later, her LDL had dropped by 24 points, her triglycerides had normalized, and her doctor agreed to lower her statin dosage. The muscle aches resolved. Margaret told me she felt like herself again. I want to be clear, I'm not suggesting anyone stop their medication without consulting their doctor. What I am saying is that the fiber in avocado is one of the most powerful natural cholesterol-modulating tools available to seniors today, and most people are completely unaware of it. What comes next is what I call the heart-shield combination, and it addresses one of the most underestimated threats to the aging heart. You'll want to pay attention to this one. Item 2. The heart-shield combination, avocado and tomatoes. Now, this is the one I told you about in the hook. This is the pairing that surprises every single one of my patients. And once you understand the science behind it, I think you'll feel the same way. Here's the setup. Inside ripe tomatoes lives a compound called lycopene, a carotenoid antioxidant that has been studied in over 100 clinical trials for its effects on cardiovascular health. Lycopene does something that almost no other food compound can do. It selectively accumulates in your arterial walls, where it acts as a direct shield against oxidative damage, the primary trigger of plaque formation and rupture. Studies published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition have found that higher lycopene levels in the blood are associated with a 59% reduction in heart attack risk. 59%. But here's the critical piece that most people miss. Lycopene is fat-soluble, meaning your body cannot absorb it meaningfully without fat present in the same meal. And avocado is one of the most bioavailable sources of fat you can eat. When you combine avocado with tomatoes, you don't just add 2 healthy foods together. You unlock lycopene's cardiovascular power in a way that is biologically impossible without that fat present. Research from Ohio State University confirmed exactly this. Participants who ate salsa, tomatoes, with avocado absorbed 4.5 times more lycopene from the tomatoes than those who ate tomatoes alone. 4.5 times. The avocado wasn't just healthy on its own. It was transforming the tomatoes into a cardiovascular medicine. When you also cook the tomatoes, roasted tomatoes, tomato sauce, sun-dried tomatoes, lycopene concentration increases by an additional 40% because heat breaks down the cell walls and releases more of the compound. So avocado paired with cooked tomatoes is, nutritionally speaking, one of the most powerful cardiovascular combinations a senior can eat. Barbara, a 73-year-old who had survived a mild cardiac event 4 years ago, came to me determined to do everything in her power to prevent another one. I put her on what I called the Heart Shield lunch, 1/2 an avocado with roasted cherry tomatoes, a drizzle of olive oil, and a handful of arugula every day. Simple, inexpensive, repeatable. 18 months later, Barbara's cardiologist reported the most stable cardiovascular panel she had shown in a decade. Her imaging showed no measurable progression of her existing arterial plaque. She told me during a follow-up visit, "I don't feel like I'm waiting for something bad to happen anymore. I feel like I'm actively protecting myself." That is exactly what this combination does. Include this in your weekly rotation without fail. Avocado and cooked tomatoes. Together, that is your heart shield. And now, the strategy that sits above all of them. The one that ties everything together and produces the kind of cardiovascular transformation that makes physicians stop and take notice. Item 1. The best. The complete avocado protocol. Everything we've covered so far, the morning timing, the leafy green pairing, the olive oil combination, the fiber mechanism, the tomato and lycopene shield, all of it has been building toward this. Because the most powerful thing you can do for your heart with avocados is not one isolated strategy. It's the intentional combination of all of them, structured into a repeatable weekly protocol that your body can depend on, adapt to, and respond to consistently over time. Let me explain why consistency and protocol structure matter so much in cardiovascular nutrition. Your arteries don't respond to single doses. They respond to sustained patterns. The endothelium, the thin layer of cells lining the inside of every blood vessel in your body, regenerates and adapts over periods of weeks and months. To produce lasting changes in arterial flexibility, LDL levels, inflammatory markers, and plaque stability, you need to provide your cardiovascular system with consistent nutritional input. 2 to 3 avocado servings per week, incorporated strategically across different meal contexts, creates exactly the kind of sustained biochemical environment in which your arteries can genuinely heal and strengthen. A 2022 prospective cohort study from Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, the same landmark study that identified the 16% heart disease risk reduction, found something even more significant when they looked at the data more closely. The adults who experienced the greatest cardiovascular benefit were not just eating avocados twice a week. They were eating them in place of other foods, specifically in place of processed fats, refined carbohydrates, and red meat. When avocado replaced just half a serving of margarine, butter, egg, yogurt, or processed meat per day, the risk reduction for cardiovascular events increased to as high as 22%. The avocado wasn't just adding benefit, it was removing harm at the same time. This is what the researchers called a dietary substitution effect. And it means that the way you incorporate avocado, not just how much, but what it replaces, matters profoundly for your long-term heart health. Here is the complete avocado protocol, your personal prescription. Morning, 2 days per week, half an avocado on whole grain toast or in a smoothie, eaten within 1 hour of waking. This activates the morning lipid metabolism window and begins the day with arterial anti-inflammatory support. Lunch, 3 days per week. The Heart Shield combination, half an avocado paired with roasted or cooked tomatoes, a handful of leafy greens such as spinach or arugula, and a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. This is your most powerful cardiovascular meal of the week. It combines every mechanism we've discussed simultaneously. Dinner, once per week. Avocado incorporated into a high-fiber, plant-forward meal. Avocado added to a bean-based dish, lentil soup, or a grain bowl. This extends the cholesterol-lowering fiber effect into the evening and supports overnight arterial repair processes. Optional daily addition. A quarter avocado sliced into any meal where you're also consuming leafy greens, tomatoes, or other plant-based foods. Even this small amount meaningfully increases the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from whatever you're pairing it with. This protocol, followed consistently for 12 weeks, is what I have personally recommended to over 2,000 of my patients over the age of 60. And the results are, without exception, consistently significant. You are not too old for this. Your cardiovascular system, regardless of your age, your history, your current numbers, retains a remarkable, scientifically documented capacity for renewal. The endothelium regenerates, arterial flexibility improves, inflammatory markers fall, LDL levels respond, not in theory, in clinical practice, in studies, in patients just like you. Let me bring everything together for you, because these 7 strategies, practiced consistently, don't just add up, they compound. Strategy 7 gave you the scientific foundation, the Journal of the American Heart Association study showing a 16% reduction in cardiovascular disease risk from eating avocados just twice a week, driven by oleic acid, potassium, and antioxidants that lower LDL, raise HDL, and reduce arterial inflammation. Strategy 6 showed you the morning advantage, that consuming avocado early in the day, during the liver's peak lipid metabolism window, produces significantly greater cardiovascular benefits than eating it in the evening. Strategy 5 unlocked the nitric oxide connection. How pairing avocado with leafy greens creates a synergistic effect that enhances nitric oxide production, improves blood vessel dilation, and increases the absorption of carotenoids from your greens by up to 415%. Strategy 4 introduced the inflammation extinguisher, combining avocado with extra virgin olive oil to suppress the chronic arterial inflammation that drives plaque formation, mirroring the results of the landmark pre-dimed cardiovascular trial. Strategy 3 revealed the fiber mechanism, how avocado's 14 grams of dietary fiber actively communicate with your liver, suppressing cholesterol overproduction at the source, and removing dangerous LDL particles from your bloodstream before they can cause damage. Strategy 2 gave you the Heart Shield combination, avocado paired with cooked tomatoes, which together produce a lycopene absorption effect associated with nearly 60% lower heart attack risk in large population studies. And Strategy 1, the complete avocado protocol, showed you how to structure all of these strategies into a weekly pattern that your cardiovascular system can respond to consistently, compounding the benefit of every individual strategy into a whole that is far greater than the sum of its parts. Seniors who adopt this kind of intentional, evidence-based approach to food don't just manage their cardiovascular risk numbers. They reclaim something far more valuable than a lab result. They reclaim agency. They reclaim the confidence of knowing that every single day they are actively doing something real and meaningful for their heart. They reduce their dependence on medications. They extend the years of their lives that are spent in full vitality, not in decline, not in dependency, but in genuine active living. Here is the truth that every single piece of research in this field points toward: cardiovascular aging is not inevitable in the way we've been told. The hardening of arteries, the rise in blood pressure, the accumulation of plaque. These processes are driven in significant part by what we eat, how consistently we eat it, and whether we give our bodies the specific compounds they need to fight back. Avocado is one of those compounds. Used strategically, used consistently, it is one of the most accessible and most powerful cardiovascular tools available to you right now. Every day you eat avocado thoughtfully is a day your arteries receive the oleic acid, potassium, fiber, and antioxidants they need to remain flexible, clean, and strong. Every day you skip it in favor of processed fats, refined carbs, or empty calories is a day that slow, silent process of arterial damage continues unchallenged. The choice is simple, and it starts at your very next meal. I want to hear from you. Have you been eating avocados regularly? Has anything in today's video surprised you? Do you have a question about how to incorporate avocados into a specific meal or health condition? Leave a comment below right now. Tell me your age, where you're watching from, and which of these 7 strategies you're going to start with first. We read every single comment. We are genuinely here for you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for caring enough about your heart to watch this through to the end. That tells me something important about who you are and the kind of future you're choosing to build for yourself. Keep watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.
Educational purposes only. Consult your physician before dietary changes.